Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV. It's December 12th, 2012. I'm Logan Burgess. Joining me to my right here is Brock Shimano. Well, Brock, let's jump into fire tip here. See how the grains traded one day after yesterday's USDA WASDE report. As we can see here, corn off 3 cents for March delivery. Beans holding on to positive ground, up $0.015 for January. Chicago wheat and Kansas City wheat continued to move lower. We were off 10.5 cents in Chicago, off 16.25 in Kansas City. Brock, was there more fundamental news in the market today? Was this technically driven? What's your take on this wheat market right now?
I think mostly, for the most part, it was technically driven, especially in the wheat market. Yesterday we saw some bearish fundamentals provided by the USDA. Right. Ending stocks were revised higher by 50 million bushels, kind of a surprise to the market. We sold off sharply yesterday. I think we saw the continuation today. You know, you said Kansas City was down about 16.25. Chicago was off about 10.5. If you take a look at this daily chart here of the March contract that we've been watching, you can see the channel that we were trading in over the last few months or so. We actually broke through that yesterday with pretty good conviction, pretty big volume on that bearish fundamental report. Right. We went down quite a bit lower, headed lower today, but I think we're going to probably take a little bit of a pause here. If you take a look at the RSI indicator, their relative strength, we're sitting at about 27.8 there. Technicians kind of believe a 30 level is oversold. So if you're going by this, we probably should get a little bit of buying interest, a little bit of buying support here. And going along with that, we also have the 200-day moving average and the $8 whole level sitting right below us. So I think we'll probably end up pausing a little bit here around this $8 to $8.15 level. Yeah. But I think overall the fundamentals are still pretty bearish for the wheat market right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Brock. You know, let's take a look at corn here real quick. Soybeans had more of a quiet trade day, but certainly some good action to take note of in the corn market. We've been talking about this 720 price level here on the March contract now for a while. You can see here, obviously, the big run up here as the drought of the summer really took a toll on this crop. Came down, tested it once, moved higher. Came down, tested it pretty seriously there in November. Now we've moved higher, and we're once again coming in again toward this area of 720. Let's take a look at the action just in today's trade on a 5-minute chart. You can see here about 10:30, we took a serious run at 720. Here's that price level. We found a lot of buying support there, so certainly good to see if you're a corn bull right now. Bottom line, though, this area 720, you know, it really looks like it is going to be tested again. We only have a 5-cent buffer right now. And take a look at this corn chart. I mean, it's going to be pretty clear that the trend has now moved to lower highs and lower lows after the big run up this summer, if we're able to move through 720 with conviction. I think that's going to be an important price level to watch there here in the coming weeks. Ultimately, though, this crop is pretty much in the bin. Demand side factors are really going to drive things.
You know, I think the USDA really put off their demand revisions in yesterday's report until the January report. We were kind of surprised they didn't make any revisions to exports that have been running well behind pace. Yep. Ethanol production's been running well behind pace, and even today we saw ethanol production down another 11,000 barrels per day. You know, if you take a look at this chart that we've been following all marketing year long, the red bars are what we're actually experiencing for ethanol production per day. We are down about 11,000 barrels again this week. The green line is what we're forecasting of corn use going to ethanol. Yep. 4.375 billion bushels is what we are forecasting. So we're a little bit higher on our daily production of ethanol and use of corn. But if you take a look at where we were last year, you can see that during this time of year we typically see a pretty big increase in the amount of production of ethanol. We're not really seeing it so far this year. That'll be something we'll have to watch as we move throughout the marketing year. But again, we're projecting us to be quite a bit lower on the corn use of corn going to ethanol use, and we didn't really see any revisions yesterday by the USDA.
Yeah, Brock, you know, that big increase in production that you were mentioning there last year. Last year at this time we saw ethanol crush margins sitting about $2.30 a bushel. Right now they're sitting at about $1 a bushel. So corn prices are going to have to move lower. Ethanol prices are going to have to move higher to really give incentive out there to have an uptick in production here in ethanol. And certainly that's going to weigh heavily on if we're able to crush 4.5 billion bushels of corn ethanol here in this current marketing year. Staying on the demand front, export sales report will be coming out tomorrow. That was another section of the USDA report that people were looking for a possible revision lower in terms of corn, and we didn't see that out of yesterday's report, holding export sales steady from the November to the December report. Same thing as you were talking about with ethanol, Brock. It kind of opens the door to potentially a revision in that January report, as export sales have really lagged behind pace so far this marketing year. If we look at market expectations, trade's kind of expecting between 100,000 and 300,000 bushels of corn reported sold out of tomorrow's report. We're going to be covering that in depth tomorrow on GrainTV, and on Twitter we'll be reporting as the number comes out live. At GrainTV is where you can find us over there. I think that wraps up our show here for Wednesday afternoon. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.